my name is Angela Blakely, and also we're going to be joined later on today by Michael Dane. He's going to go over how to network and how to create more connections on LinkedIn. So here's our agenda. First, we're going to go over creating your personal brand. Next, how to build an all-star profile on LinkedIn, the key features, and making connections. So the first thing we're going to go over is how to create your personal brand. So looking at these celebrities here, could anyone guess, what did all these celebrities have in common? And I know it might not be that obvious, but all of them have mastered the art of personal branding. And probably a more important question would be, why should you care about having a personal brand, and why is it important? Having a personal brand makes you more memorable to those around you, and the more memorable you are, the more in demand you are likely to be, and the more in demand you are, the more successful you will become. So that's why it's so important to have a personal brand, and that's why a lot of these celebrities have become successful. There are 4 tenets of having a personal brand. First, it's going to be determining who you are. Next, you need to determine what you do. Second, how to position yourself. And fourth, managing or evaluating your brand. And so we're going to go over each part of this. So first thing, when you're trying to create a personal brand for yourself, you need to determine who you are. What you want to ask yourself is, what do I do that makes me different? Or what is my specialty? When you're making a personal brand, you need to identify what your greatest strengths are and what your most noteworthy personal traits are. These qualities may not provide any value to others, but it's something that makes you different. So personal branding is about determining who you are at your core authentic self rather than inventing a brand that you want to be perceived as. So your specialty doesn't necessarily have to, someone might not want to pay for it or anything like that, but it's what makes you you. It makes you special. So once you determine who you are and what makes you special, you need to determine what out of that can you actually do that provides value. So ask yourself, when you want to determine what you do, what do I do that provides value to others, or what services can I provide? So do any of your specialties provide value to others? What do you do that provides remarkable or measurable or distinguished value? And what can you say that you're most proud of that you do? So in other words, what do you do that others would actually pay for, or they would pay for that service? So that, make a list like that. That will help you create your personal brand. Next, you're going to want to position yourself. So what have you done to make yourself stand out, and how can you make yourself noticeable to your audience? So ask yourself, what would my colleagues or my clients or my customers say is my greatest and clearest strength? It's important that you position yourself in the best light and in front of the right audience. While promoting your brand, everything you do or choose not to do communicates the value and character of your brand. You can do this in everything you do, from the way you handle your phone calls, how soon you respond to email messages, or how you conduct business in a meeting. And also having a powerful online presence on social media sites like LinkedIn is a part of creating that brand. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and spend a lot of time on how LinkedIn can influence your personal brand and make others notice you and help you stand out. So last, now that we know, who you are, what you do that makes you special, and what value can you provide to your audience, and now that you know where and how you can position yourself, you need to manage your brand. So ask yourself, is my brand actually memorable? Will people remember me? And would your audience actually recommend you? So if you answer no to either or both of those questions, then ask yourself, what must I do to achieve a memorable and valuable brand? To evaluate how your brand is doing, it's necessary to obtain honest and helpful feedback about the performance and growth of your brand, and definitely make sure you're connecting with your network. That means your friends, your colleagues, clients. They're the most important marketing vehicle for your brand, and what they say about your brand is what the market ultimately is going to gauge as the value of your brand. So make sure that you establish it as a place of trust and that it's relevant in prospective minds. The more it's believed by others, the more it will spread throughout the marketplace naturally. So now that we've gone over briefly, what a personal brand is, we're going to look at how you can use your all-star LinkedIn profile to create and maintain a personal brand. So we'll not only go over the basics, we'll also go some of the features that you can utilize, and it will help you make a winning profile. Obvious first thing you'll want to do is go ahead and sign up. Make sure you choose a name that you want to use professionally, and also make sure that you use an email address that you'll always have access to. You can always add, your alternate company or employer email addresses afterwards. Another thing we want you to also do is make a customized URL. It's better to create a custom URL rather than the default one that LinkedIn will generate for you, because it'll be easier for you to pass your profile along more easily. LinkedIn usually generates a very complicated URL. It has a lot of numbers and underscores and letters. You'll want to go ahead and create your own. We definitely suggest using your first name and your last name. If you have a company, make sure that it's your own business if you choose to customize that URL. And you always have to have a personal LinkedIn account before you sign up for a company one, regardless. So as long as you customize your URL, it will definitely be more useful than using the generated one by LinkedIn. So you can always come back and look at our presentation, but I'm going to go ahead and show this to you in person. So one moment. Okay, so here we are on the main newsfeed page. I'm going to go ahead and go to my profile. And you'll see here, right under my name, here's my customized URL. I'm going to click on the gear icon. And what you'll see pops up here is the custom URL box. So I can go ahead and edit that. And you can change that to any, any URL you want it to be. You can always change your URL at any time, even if you've had your LinkedIn account for 5 years or only a month. You can always change that at any time. So just remember that. That's how you can access that. Another thing we want you to be aware of is your profile settings. So you can go to the privacy and settings page when you're on your main newsfeed section. You can click your picture thumbnail on the right-hand side. As soon as you click that, you'll get a drop-down menu, and just go to privacy and settings. There you can customize all of your profile settings, such as changing your activity broadcast, so you can turn that on and off. Let's say if you're updating your profile, every time you change something on your profile, like your summary or your job experience, your connections will be notified in their newsfeed. So if you want to turn that off in case maybe you're doing a lot of changes and you don't want to spam everyone, you can turn that off or on. You can also select what others see when you've viewed their profile. So for instance, you can be completely visible. That means anytime you look at another person, so whenever you look at someone else's profile, you can, they'll see that you looked at it, or you can choose to be partially visible, which someone will they might not see your picture, but they'll see what industry and what company you work at, or you can be completely anonymous, and that means when you're looking at someone's profile, they will not see who you are at all. You can also change what you want other people to see in your activity feed. You can also choose how you receive notifications from LinkedIn. Okay, so also your public profile is important. You can customize how others will see your profile that are non-connections. So when you're on your profile, we'll go back to where we were before. So as you see, when I'm on my profile, we brought up, you can go to view profile as. Here you can view it as either a connection or as a public. Public is someone who's not a connection with you yet. You can also, where we were with our previous box here, when we go to the gear button, we can also customize our public profile here. So you can either make, your picture invisible. Maybe you only want them to see your summary, or you only want them to see your projects or your skills. So you can always customize that as you want it. Another important thing, and probably the most important thing about LinkedIn, is that every word on your LinkedIn profile is optimized for searching. So So it's definitely important that you're inserting keywords throughout your whole profile, in your headline, in your summary, in your job experience section. All those sections should include keywords. So I definitely suggest taking a look at job descriptions of positions related to your current position or career and dump them into a word cloud tool. There's a couple like Word It Out, or there's a Wordle, W-O-R-D-L-E. You can use either one of those, and when you process that, you'll see the words that stand out, and choose those and definitely put them throughout your profile. Also make sure you're using all of the skills that you've learned at your current job or in your education, and make sure those are sprinkled throughout your whole profile. And it will just make you much more searchable when clients are looking for you, or different peers are looking for you. You'll be at the top of their search. So there are 7 components of an all-star profile. The more complete your profile, the better the odds that clients will find you in the first place. So completeness is important from that standpoint. It's also important that after a client has found you and decided to click on your profile, that he or she wants to know what your skills are and where you've worked and what people think of you. So don't get lazy. Make sure you fill out every section. And the good news is LinkedIn actually measures the completeness of your profile as you work along, and it will offer suggestions to you so you can make your profile even stronger. We're going to go over these 7 components: your headline, connections, the summary, your experience, education, skills and endorsements, and recommendations. So let's get started. So the profile badge is the first thing others see when they find you in a search or view your public profile. So this is our profile badge, and it includes your picture, your headline, and your city and industry. And it's actually 25% of your all-star profile. And definitely we suggest make sure you have a picture in your headline. It's actually 11 times more likely that you'll have your profile view if you have a picture on your profile. So make sure that you have one. We definitely also want to suggest that you make your profile, make sure that it's well lit, that it has good framing. Make sure that it's a recognizable picture of you, that it's pretty recent. Also make sure that you're smiling and that or that you look thoughtful, and make sure you keep it professional. If you're not sure what's appropriate or professional, then look around at other people in your target industry or in your field, and see what their pictures look like, and you can kind of model your the photo that you choose after that. Okay, so your headline on your profile badge is this section right here. And you just make sure that your headline has your current profession and or your job title, and it's optimized for a keyword search. So make sure that you use the 120 characters wisely. You can enter up to 120 characters there. But just to note, you are not obligated to only enter your current job title. You can actually put a lot of information there that relates to your profession or your skill set or accomplishments. So definitely get creative. So I'm going to show you a couple examples. At CU Direct, we really are trying to enforce everyone, having a great, consistent, and professional-looking LinkedIn, and that's actually what LinkedIn does with their employees as well. A lot of them make sure that they have really great-looking LinkedIn pages. So I chose a couple samples for us to look at today. So our first one here, we have Alan Doherty, and as you see, he's attracting talent that will change the way the world hires, markets, and sells. And again, he could have just said he's a talent, acquisition manager, but instead, he put something very creative that tells us what he exactly does for LinkedIn. And if you notice, his pictures also, he's welcoming, and it's well lit, and it's well framed. So that's a good example. Here we have another one, Emily Friedman, and here she's, put a more traditional approach. She's senior research consultant at LinkedIn. So again, you don't have to get, too creative. You can just put exactly what you do here at CU Direct. But either way, she has a great picture. It's, again, well lit. She's smiling. She looks welcoming. So that's another great example. Here we have Lutz Finger, and now he got a little more creative with his. So he's director of data science, he's an entrepreneur, and he's a published author, getting the best out of big data. So he put the title of his book as well. So, we know what he does at LinkedIn, but he also put, other things that he has done or he's accomplished. So that might be something you want to do if you also have, you're a published author, or if you have other things going on outside of CU Direct, you can include that as well. Okay, and last we have Molly Brown Pickett, and so again, she put everything that she's a part of. So she put talent management, culture change, organization development, product, startup to Fortune 100. So again, she became very detailed. And remember, this is all keyword searchable. So again, if someone is looking for any of these type of words, she's going to pop up because she included all of this in her headline. So something to remember. Next section is your summary. And now your summary is only 5% of the All-Star profile, but I think it's really important. It can contain up to 2,000 words, and it should definitely highlight your experience, your expertise, and your accomplishments. So your summary I think, is definitely really important. You can make it more personal by writing it in first person. Some people like to make it a little more formal by writing it in third person. It's all up to you and your personal preference. So definitely make sure you fill this part out. It doesn't have to be too long, but just make sure it highlights those 3 areas. Okay, the next section is your experience, and to me this is probably the most important section of them all, and it is 30% of an all-star profile, so as you see it's pretty weighted. And the more descriptive you are in your experience section, the more likely you're going to turn up in a search, so make sure that you are putting as much as possible about your previous job experience or your previous volunteer experience. Make sure you're putting it down here. And also a great feature that LinkedIn provides right now is you can attach media from your past work projects. You can insert presentations, videos, graphics, or blog posts or websites that you might have worked on at your previous job or at your current position. So make sure you're adding that as well to your experience section. The next section we're going to go over is your education, and so that's 15% of an all-star profile, and of course this just speaks to your credibility when others view your profile, so make sure you put all of your education, even if it was only courses that you completed at an institution, make sure you include that. Also, include any societies you might have been a part of, organizations, any academic awards or academic achievements you might have been a part of, so make sure you include that as well, not just the colleges. Okay, and we actually got a question a little bit earlier about this, so hopefully this answers your question. If not, just chat us back if you have any further questions about this. But this is your skills and endorsement section, and this is only 5% of an all-star profile, but again, I still think it's really important, especially when people are searching for you, like clients or prospective customers. They're going to find you because you have these skills listed on your profile. So you can actually have you have to have a minimum of 5 skills to achieve an all-star profile, and you can have a maximum of 50. I definitely suggest trying to use all 50 of the skills you can enter on your LinkedIn profile. And what's great is that you can also add, any software or equipment you might be have a skill with. So make sure that you include equipment and software as well. Endorsements are a really great way to show off what you know, and it's just an easy way to show instead of someone, going through your whole job experience section or reading your summary. So that's probably why it's important to include that on your profile. And just to note that, the more connections you have, the more likely you're going to get endorsed. So if you're endorsing your other connections, the more likely they're also going to endorse you. So definitely make sure, whenever LinkedIn prompts you to endorse a friend or another colleague, go ahead and do it because they're more likely to go back and, return the favor. And it just looks better that, you have people that you work with who also can, speak on your experience. And just a side note, LinkedIn, they will notify you when someone endorses you and vice versa. When you endorse someone, they'll be notified that you endorse them as well. Also, when you're on your profile and go to the skills and endorsement section, you'll see this blue button right here. It says add skill. When you click on that, that's where you can actually customize all the skills that you have listed under that section. So you can change the order of them if you'd like. You can delete ones. I definitely recommend updating your skills occasionally because sometimes, as you move through your position at your job, sometimes you might learn new skills that are more relevant to your field, and other ones might, go lower on the list and might not be as relevant. So you can drop those off and actually add the ones that are more relevant to where you're going with your position. So I definitely say always come here, add the ones you want to add. You can also move them up higher on the list so that those ones are more likely to pop up for other people to endorse you. So make sure that you're moving those up by importance so that other people see that. Okay, and now we are at recommendations, and they are 15% of your profile, and you're actually 3 times more likely to get inquiries from LinkedIn searches if you have recommendations on your profile. So definitely make sure that you are, asking for those from, either previous senior management or even from coworkers that you might have worked with. It speaks to your credibility and your value as an employee at a company. And giving recommendations is the best way to get them back. Your connections can vouch for your experience by endorsing your skills and giving you recommendations. So like I said before, make sure that you're asking those, but also giving them back in return. Okay, so last part of an all-star profile is connections. And connections are only 5% of your all-star profile, but again, I think they're so important to have because they grow your network, and we're going to go over that in more depth with Michael later on, but it's definitely really important to have connections, as many as you can. And you do need a minimum of 50 connections to get an all-star status on LinkedIn. Which shouldn't be hard for most of us. You definitely have a lot of employees here at CU Direct, but make sure you are, adding people as you go along in your career, because at this time it's so important that your online presence, that it looks like you have a big network to other people who may view you. Otherwise, you might look like, you're a recluse, or that you're scared of technology, or that you're paranoid about connecting with other people. And you don't want to look like that, because at the end of the day, we're so all about, technology and being on social media, and LinkedIn is definitely a great platform for you to connect and network with others in your industry. So before we go to the next step, we're actually going to go ahead and just look at some great profiles. So I think we have Marcie on the line. Marcie, I'm going to use your profile because you actually have a really great profile. So as we see here, Marcie, she chose a really great profile picture. She's smiling, she looks welcoming, and it's well lit and well framed. And, she put her headline here, and, it's very direct. Like I said, that's fine. You don't have to get that creative, but she tells us exactly what she does here at CU Direct. So anyone who looks at her headlines, they'll know exactly what she does. Here you go, you see she has, a very simple summary, but what I like here is the statement right here, I build relationships. That tells us right away, this is what she does here at CU Direct, and this is, what she's great at. This is what makes her different. So again, going back to the personal branding, these are things you want to think about when you are creating things on your profile. As you see here, she also has all her experience at her previous jobs and here at CU Direct. She also has 5 recommendations. So again, that's really good to have from her previous place of work. So make sure that you're getting that from your previous jobs as well. She also included organizations that she's a part of. This is also great to make sure that you add to your profile, because if someone is searching for others who are involved in certain organizations, you're going to turn up in that search. So people are going to find you easier if you have organizations that you're a member of listed on your profile. She also has great skills listed and a lot of endorsements for each one. She also has all of her education listed, and what I like here, she also added all her honor society, where she was a part of on the honor roll, her sororities. So make sure that you're adding all of these things, not just your college and where you attended. She also included publications she's authored. So again, these are great things to make sure you add, and I thought she just had a really great profile to show. And she also showed us her volunteer experience. So again, this is a great profile. If you want to look back, give her some profile views and take a look at it. Another really good profile is actually Michael's, and what I really liked about his, he used media really great on his profile. So here we see he put his post that he's actually published to LinkedIn. So this is a great thing if you're actually blogging, include those posts on LinkedIn as long as they're appropriate and professional. Another great thing that Michael added to his profile is that he inserted a lot of the media that he's done at different companies. So as you see here, we have different presentations, different videos that he's worked on. And again, this just speaks to his credibility and proof that, he knows what he's doing, he knows what he's talking about. So make sure that you're adding these to your profile as well for your different projects and different workplaces. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. Okay, so now we're just going to briefly go over some of the key features on LinkedIn. So first off, sending invitations and messages. Make sure that you're definitely sending invitations and messages to people. Before I go on, do we have any questions? We're good? Okay. So LinkedIn, when you send an invite for someone to connect, sometimes, depending on how you chose to connect with them, LinkedIn will generate a invitation message to send to them. I definitely suggest don't just send, the standard message LinkedIn generates. Personalize that invitation by including, how you are connected or how you met that person and why you want to connect with them and speak with them further. So just make sure that, you don't just send a generic message. People are less likely to, respond back if you just send, just some regular message and you don't, show them like, hey, this is why I actually want to get to know you and connect with you professionally. And we kind of already briefly went over this, but I just want to go over it again. You can add media to 3 parts of your profile. You can add it to your summary, to your job experience section, or there is also a project section you can add media to. And it's pretty great because you can add, documents, you can add photos, you can add website links or videos or presentations. So you can add everything that you want. Right now, video, you only can add the video link. So you can't add a video from file, but if you have the external link to it or a website link, you can add that. But definitely make sure, again, it just showcases examples of your work experience and verifies your experience and your credibility. So make sure you're definitely using that to create a stronger profile. Another thing we also encourage everyone to do is follow influencers. As you see, a lot of the influencers, there's Barack Obama, Susie Orman, Ariana Huffington, are all influencers on LinkedIn. So definitely make sure that you're following them. These people have already succeeded at creating a personal brand. So a lot of the time they post articles or blog posts on how, they succeeded in the business or different things that they might want you to know about that industry. So make sure that you follow them. They can give you, an edge in your career. So definitely follow them. They'll give you great feedback or, definitely good advice. And profile view. So the cool thing about LinkedIn, they let you track your profile views for the last 90 days. On a free account, you can view only the last 5 viewers, but with a premium account, you can view all the viewers from the past 90 days. So that's just something to remember. If you have a free account and you're anonymous and you're viewing profiles anonymously, you will not be able to view who viewed you. So just remember that. That's why it's kind of good to remain visible so you can see everyone. It's just a great way to see who's viewing you, who's checking out your profile. I definitely suggest staying visible. And actually, they actually have a great ranking system for profile views on LinkedIn where you can, look at everything. So actually, we're going to go ahead and go to that so I can show you firsthand. Yeah, okay. So here we are on the main page. Let's go to home. Okay, so when I go to profile tab, I scroll down to who's viewed your profile. So under this section, I can monitor everyone who's looked at my profile. I can see it for the past 90 days. The line graph is in relation to, these points are in relation to the number of profile views. This bottom area right here, the bar graph, this is actually reflecting your activities. So like maybe did you endorse people? Did you add new connections? That's what that's in relation to. So you can track that there. You can also view, what type of people viewed your profile. So you can see, what areas do they live in? What companies do they work for? And you can also view what industries they work in as well. So that's just another thing to know. Another cool feature, you can look to see where you rank in profile views. So out of my connections, I only have 244, but I can see here I'm number 80 out of that, so I'm in the top 33%, and I can see my rate has been going up by 32% over the last 30 days. So that's just something to know. You can also view it with your company. So we have 303 people from See Direct on LinkedIn, and as we see here, Michael's number 1, right? Whoop, whoop. And Marcie's number 3, Eric's number 2. So all these people, they're our top 10 right here, right? And then if you have a free account, you only can see the top 10 and where you are. So I'm in the top 9% and I'm number 27. If I had a premium account, I could see all 303 members. So that's just a note. If you want a premium account, those are the extra features you can get with that. So I can just jump to myself and see where I stand. So I'm right here next to Blanca. So that's just something good to know. If you want to go and take a look at where you stand within the company, definitely check that out. You can also see if you're posting in any blog posts, you can see who views your blog post as well. Okay, are there any questions before we hand it off to Michael? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Really good recommendations there. I wish I had known all that when I started. Would have been helpful. I've been on LinkedIn for over 10 years, and there's been lots of changes. I'm definitely more open to making connections than I was at the beginning. At the beginning, I really felt like anyone I was connected with, that was like my personal endorsement of them, so I was very careful about who I would connect with. But I've opened up quite a bit, as is evident by all the connections I have now. But that's really a matter of personal preference. Some people are still manage their account that way, that it's a very close personal network, and anyone they're connected with is an endorsement of that person. But I'll just say some of the pros of opening up a little bit who you connect with is that you really expand your network, which is kind of the point of being on LinkedIn in the first place. And the point really is to be able to connect outside of your current network, because the secret to networking is connecting with people you don't already know. So friends of friends, or just really getting beyond the people that you currently know already. And by having a larger group of connections on LinkedIn, you're more likely to get recommendations and endorsements. So some of the cons are that you're more likely to get spam, because if you're connecting with people you don't know well, often, if I do that, not often, but occasionally I will get a message trying to sell me some product. And also, as you are connecting with people, it could infer a validation on your part because you're connecting with that person. So there's some things to keep in mind, but I'm going to focus on how to expand and make more connections on LinkedIn. So the first thing you're going to do is go to the little shadow guy with the plus there, and you click on that. It's going to open up this box, and you have a couple of options here. It's going to give you like 2 or 3 people that you may know already, and you can click on that and connect with them. You can also, down here, it says invite your contacts. So if you click into that, it's going to let you sync your Gmail or your email client. You could also sync that with Outlook or a CSV file, and it's going to essentially invite all the people in your contact list for you. So just keep that in mind. If you go through that process, it will be sending an email to everyone that you have in your contact list. So you might want to go through that, maybe uncheck some people that you do not want to be connected with on LinkedIn, or it might not be appropriate. So just kind of look through that. But it's a great way to make a lot of connections at one time, and LinkedIn does the work for you. And if we come back up here, it says people you may know, and then see all. If you click on the see all, it's going to take you to a screen with a lot of potential contacts. So this is a clip. Actually, when you go to the page, there's usually dozens of people that you could potentially be a connection with. And most of these, if you just click on connect, it's going to be send an invitation immediately. Occasionally, it will ask you if you know their email address, depending on the person's settings. But a nice little feature here that you might miss is this little icon. This icon tells you how many mutual connections that you have. So the more mutual connections you have, the more likely that person is to accept your connection request. So as I scroll through, usually if I have at least 4 connections with a person, I feel it's probably safe to connect with them. So it's great we're making all these connections. We're sharing contact information essentially, but we really want to start to build on those relationships. So one way to do that is to join a group on LinkedIn. So in these groups, you can really interact and build a community with your connections. And another cool thing about being in groups is that once you're in a group, if you want to connect with someone who maybe is, third or fourth connections away, it gives you these options. And if you are in the same group, it'll give you the option to connect with them because you share a group. So you can really expand your network. So this person has a common group of social media today. I will say, though, as you're making these connections, be careful that you are a good connection or that you actually know the person. If they get a connection request and they feel like, I really don't know you, or it's spam, they can mark you as spam. I will say that that's happened to me in the past. I tried to connect with somebody who I worked with. I'd actually been in several meetings with him, but I guess he didn't remember me. So when I tried to connect, he marked me as spam, which made my life difficult on LinkedIn for quite a while. I didn't have these options anymore. I had to have the person's email address to be able to connect with them. So just think about that, and also be considerate too if someone's trying to connect with you. If you mark them as spam, just realize what you're doing. Another tip I learned the hard way is if you sign up for a group, the group will send you a lot of notifications. And if you're in multiple groups, you can join up to 50 groups, which I have done. You get a lot of emails. So the first thing I do now is if I join a group, I go to the frequency of group emails that I get, and I turn them off. There's a few that I am more active in. So you can also get a group digest email, like a weekly digest. That way you're still connected, but you're not getting so many notifications. If you like to get all those notifications, feel free, but personally, that's a little bit too much. So another way to really interact and build on these relationships is to post, share, and like. So a reason to do this is that it establishes you as an expert or authority, and all of your connections can potentially see the posts that you're making. And again, it really just builds interaction and community beyond just sharing your contact details with people. So these here, share and update and upload a photo, are very similar to Facebook and Twitter. Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn are really starting to become similar in a lot of ways. So this is very similar to how you would share an update on Facebook or Twitter. You can share a link, you can share a photo, and it's good. And your likes will go into those feeds as well. Now over here, publishing a post is very different. It's more of a long-form article or blog post written by you. So it's going to have more of an impact. The image that is displayed is much larger. The advantage of publishing a post to LinkedIn is that the potential audience is much higher than maybe your personal or corporate blog. This is actually a public post that anyone can see, whereas these are going just to your network. So an example, here's a great blog post I shared from our CU Direct corporate blog. So I shared the link and this little note, Happy International Credit Union Day. And here's an original post I made. So this is really, it's actually a blog post I made previously. So I just kind of updated it and added an image. But you can see it's definitely featured much more prominently than just me sharing someone else's posts. So as far as it being shared with a larger potential audience, there's something called LinkedIn Pulse. This is more of a public feed of news and articles published by LinkedIn. And you've probably come across it here and there, but for this presentation, I was like, how do I get there? So it's actually linkedin.com/pulse if you're looking for that. So if you publish a post and it gets picked up by LinkedIn Pulse, it can really reach way beyond your network to thousands of people. So that's an advantage of publishing a post. And we're starting to see that more influencers are publishing on LinkedIn Pulse. So Dr. Travis Bradbury, author of Emotional Intelligence 2.0, posted, and I read through this and it looks like probably a snippet from his book. You see here though, over 300,000 views, over 3,000 likes, over 500 comments. So we're really starting to see more influencers make these kind of posts. There's a much larger potential audience than usually on their own website. So pretty impressive and something to think about. This could really happen to anybody. So we want to follow, like, comment, and share, particularly supporting our corporate page. So we see some of the things you can do. You can follow the page. You can like the page. You can make a comment. You can share it. Thanks to Matthew, Rob, and Pete who have liked our page. When you like something like this, you like this particular post that we made, it's going to show up in the feeds of your connections. And if you share it, it's going to format this post for your feed. It's going to be a little bit more prominent. So this is really a win-win because it's great content for you to share, and it also supports the corporate image of the company. So let me show you how you would share. Okay, so this is our corporate page. And you just scroll through, we got a press release. This is an article we had in Callahan. That's the post we're just looking at. Lots of great articles on here. I really like this one, Developing a New Growth Channel Through Point-of-Sale Financing from the CU Direct blog. So I'm going to share this. This is actually Angel's account. Angel, is it okay if I share this?
No problem.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just to make sure. Great article. I don't think there's any emoji on here though. Coming soon. And you're gonna. It's up to you, but I would, probably share that with the public. You can also choose groups you want to post it to, or perhaps you just saw a cool article and you want to send it to a particular person. And then if you have your Twitter synced up, it'll post to Twitter for you as well. Save you a little time. Click on share. It gives you some other sharing options if you want to continue. But now this is going to be shared in Angela's feed with the public. All right. Is there any questions on that? No, we're good? Okay. So another thing if you're in sales and you're looking for customers, LinkedIn's a great prospecting tool. So there is a search box on every page, but you can also click on Advanced Search, which is right next to the search box, and it'll give you many more options. You can search for like CU heads of lending. You can also look for group connections. Perhaps you'll see if you already have some kind of connection in a group. And if you have a premium account or what's called Sales Navigator, it lets you add additional helpful filters. And a neat feature of this is once you've set up the search, you can save it. You can save up to 3 searches, so that way you don't have to continually go in and scan for it. It'll send you an email if any new people have joined that meet your criteria, so you can follow up with them. If you have the Premium Sales Navigator account, you have unlimited save searches. So just to mention that, if you find this a useful tool that you could get Sales Navigator, there is a monthly fee, but they do have a free 30-day trial, so it might be something you want to consider trying. It really depends on what your role is. I have no premium access, no Sales Navigator account. I don't really need it for what I do, but it could be useful for some of you out there, particularly if you are doing sales prospecting. Okay, is there any questions?
And that is all we have today. I'm not seeing any questions come through the chat, so I think that's it. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day.
Have a good one.